views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Hi everyone, my name is Jake and welcome to Leaders of the Future. This is our 6th episode and we have the latest news, great interviews, and more. Don't go anywhere.
Today we have an inspiring woman in the show, Christine Osorio. We talked to her in the foundation and asked her a couple of questions about her career and successful book, Rosalia. Don't miss it.
Good afternoon, everybody. Today I'm very pleased to introduce you to our guest. She is an entrepreneur, writer, accountant, mother, and wife. So she really is a woman that does it all. I'm pleased to introduce you to Christina Osorio. And today our friends here have a lot of questions they want to ask you. So welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
Oh, awesome, awesome. Then you have to tell me how you do it so we can talk
definitely.
a little bit about that, right?
I will.
What was your dream as a child?
So growing up, I wanted to be a journalist. I wanted to actually be in camera. I wanted to, be in broadcasting, be in newscast. Unfortunately, that didn't happen for me. But I am here now, so I guess life did take me in different routes. But I did want to be a journalist, and but I was told years ago that I shouldn't.
How is a day in your life?
So I'm a mom of 3. I have teenage kids just like you guys, and I have a 5-year-old. I wake up very early. I wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and I write. So I write. I love to write in my journal. And the reason why I write in my journal is because it feels good to just let out all these feelings that I have, right? And just to write positive affirmations. So in the morning I write, I take care of my family, and then I get to work. I start, coaching. I do coaching with my clients. I market myself in the sense of I try to be on TV or I talk about my book and stuff like that. And then and then when the kids come home, now that they're in school, I cook and clean and, so that's everything in one. So life is busy, but yes, and I do make sure that I do things that I love, which is writing and coaching and, and running and all that stuff.
Can you tell us a little bit more how Mujeres Inner Circle started?
Yes. So I'm gonna really go way back. So I know of this age, you're teenagers, right? So when I was a young girl, I was very, I wasn't confident about myself. I wasn't confident at all. I'm Latina. My parents are from Honduras. I was first generation. And my parents lived paycheck to paycheck. And, there wasn't a lot of guidance growing up. And I speak bilingual. So sometimes I speak English and sometimes I speak Spanish and mixed up. And as I started growing up, I realized when I became a mom, I realized I was not confident about myself and I wasn't confident about who I am. And I didn't like to speak up for myself. And I realized as I gotten older, so many women and young girls specifically were not confident about themselves. And they didn't know about positive affirmations. Majority of us will live in the Bronx, so, we grow up with parents not teaching us about loving yourself, and we grow up with not this confidence, and I had to learn that. So I decided to start a community for women to talk about positive and how to go after their dreams and how to, be in love with themselves and be proud of who you are, be proud of your accomplishments and go after your goals and dreams, because that's something that as a young girl, I wish at your age, I wish people told me that. And, I'm a mom now, so I want to make sure that I teach my kids, to be confident. And that's how Mujeres Inner Circle started, honestly, is really teaching women and also young girls, how to be confident, how to go after their goals and dreams, and don't let nobody stop you from what it is that you want to go after.
How can a woman start to feel more confident about herself?
Yes, so this is one of my favorite things that I love. I tell women all the time, speak to yourself with love, and gentlemen too, right? Like, start talking to yourself as if you are number one. Tell yourself, like, I'm number one, I'm beautiful, I'm amazing. Start talking to yourself that way. And I tell women all the time, start looking at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself how much you love yourself. Because if there's something that we do a lot is compare, right? We compare with one another. And as an adult, you're gonna see that too. You compare, right? You compare career, you compare your body, you compare your education. So just remind yourself, and I tell women all the time, remind yourself how powerful you are. Put Post-it notes around your house and put, I love myself, I love you, you're amazing, and that's good to see when you're home, because you have to consistently remind yourself. So all the time I tell women, if you want to build confidence, start talking to yourself with love, and start telling, be proud of who you are, and give yourself love that you can get nowhere else but within yourself. So yeah.
and that's very important. That what she's exactly saying, Christina's saying right now, is something that I did a lot when I was in especially stressful times, my exams, my boards, those very difficult moments. I actually did all those affirmations too and put them in Post-its, to be honest, even in the bathroom.
Yeah, right?
In the bathroom,
yeah.
And the mirror to when you have to wake up in the morning and brush your teeth, right? So just wake up in the morning and say, I'm worthy, I'm smart, I'm intelligent, I'm just so many positive things you can say to yourself that helps so much. You really need the repetition. You really need to remind yourself that we're worthy. And I just cannot appreciate so much that she's here with us today and reminding you these things. So we learn from her so much. We're learning from her so much.
Yes, and I have teenage daughters, and I have a son. And I make sure that I tell them, read the Post-it note and just remind yourself how amazing you are. Because as a teenager, I know what it feels like to not feel like you're beautiful, right? To go to a fitting room and not like what you see sometimes, right? Even as a teenager. And I, it's something that I tell women all the time, speak to yourself with love, because that's what matters most before anybody else's love. Make sure that you're loving yourself first and telling yourself this daily.
You have to love yourself first.
Yes, one of my mantras is, I'm a powerful woman and I can do anything.
That's wonderful. I love it.
That's one of my favorite mantras.
Do you have a website where people can learn more about you?
Yeah. My website is www.christineosoria.com. And yeah, that's where you can find me. You can also find me on Instagram and on Facebook, Christine Osoria.
What inspired you to write your book?
Because there wasn't a book out there about being Hondureña. Yeah. So there's no book that spoke about being Hondureña. And I said to myself, my kids are Dominican and Honduran. And I remember one time they came to school and they came home from school and they said, Mommy, nobody knows about Honduras. And I knew what that felt, because my family's from Honduras. And when I went to school, again, I'm from the Bronx, I was around every other culture, Mexican, Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, African Americans, but there was not Hondurans. There was no Hondurans in my community. And I remember I remember being a child and being around people that didn't know about Honduras. So I said, I'm gonna write a book about it. And it's been a success since then. And it was just an idea that I thought of, and I said, I'm gonna write the book. And and I can't, for the past year, we sold over 500 books.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Thank you. So, I'm self-published, but, I've been making it happen to make sure that people know about Honduras, and they know about La Cultura, and they know about who we are and what we do, and, so I just wanted to write a book about being Hondureña.
Are you currently working on another book?
Yes, I am. I'm actually working on 2 more books. I love writing, I have to say. I think writing Rosalia's story has inspired me to continue writing and share stories. So I am in the process of writing my next children's book. I can't say anything yet, but I'm super excited about the story.
How or where can we find your book?
Yes, you can find my book in Amazon or in my website. I am a self-published author, so you can only find the book in those two sites, my website or on Amazon.
What have you learned about what she's accomplished, how she's done it? What have you learned?
That you should never give up.
Very good.
And achieve your goals.
Really, not a lot of people could have done what you did, and it's really admirable. Yeah, that's one of the really general things that I've learned about you. So it's really amazing that we've been able to pull off.
Thank you.
Without everything happening.
That's true. You're right.
That even though she's a young mother, that she could pursue her dreams. So it's really important. A lot of young women are being criticized because of being a young mother.
Absolutely. So courage, right? A lot of courage.
That you are powerful, independent, and you could do anything that you set your mind to.
There you go. Very good. Very good. Very good. I really, really want to thank you so much for being who you are. Thank you for the things you're doing for the community, for the woman, and it's also an example for men, right, for all of us. And my question is that, would you mind giving our youth some word of advice?
Of course. As a Bronx girl and growing up in New York, I will have to say this. Don't let anyone tell you that you cannot achieve anything, and use your voice. Use your voice, because you have a powerful voice and you have a story to tell. If you have a dream, go for it. Go for it. Go for it, because you can achieve it. And I want you, if you need to use me as an example, but just know that if you have parents right now who are working jobs, working 9 to 5, and you don't barely see them, and you know what it is to live in the struggle, or maybe you're just trying to find yourself. You're trying to find what's my passion. Just try anything and don't give up. Just keep going, because there's a place for all of us. We all have a story to share, and you all can make a difference to someone else in life. The next, your brothers, your sisters, your family. So just keep going. I know it's a lot, but yeah. Thank you.
All of us in Niño la Caridad really, really want to thank you for everything you've done, for who you are, and for taking the time to join us and enlightening all our kids.
I love it. Thank you.
Thank you
for having
so
me.
much. Thank you. And I hope you can come back again, and you can come back with all your other books.
Yes, definitely.
And you can show us what you're doing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So
Such
much.
a pleasure.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hello everyone, we are here at Urgent Care with Nick. Nick is going to be here answering some questions about the vaccine. Nick, how many young people have been vaccinated as of now?
So I would say on average, while I'm vaccinating, I see about 10 kids a day, and this has been going on for about a month now since Pfizer was able to, become available for kids. On average, we're utilizing at least 10 vaccines a day for kids. So I would say anywhere from about 40 to 50 kids that I've vaccinated since this has been going on.
How many people are getting the vaccine per day?
At the height of COVID, I would say we were doing 100 to anywhere to 120. Since then, it's kind of calmed down a little bit, and now we're looking at, on average, about 30 to 40 a day.
So for these people who are getting vaccinated, could you tell us a little bit about the side effects and if they have been experiencing side effects?
Yeah, so as far as side effects, generally it's kind of a 3-tier system for us. We use Moderna, so the first tier being arm pain, which is because we are injecting into your arm. The second kind of tier being fever, chills, and body aches. That one's probably the most common, and then the last tier being nausea and vomiting, which is pretty rare for that to come about.
When can people come and get vaccinated?
So we're open Sunday to Sunday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. They can come anytime during that time, whenever they'd like. We're here and available for them.
Thank you so much, Nick, for giving us information. Have the viewers been vaccinated? Hello everyone, today we have an amazing photographer. His name is Michel. He's French and he's in the United States right now. He's a fashion photographer and also a magazine photographer. Thank you for being with us today.
Yeah.
Michelle, my first question for you is, what made you choose to pursue a path in photography?
Well, it wasn't really planned to be that way when I started, because I have very strange upbringing, because my father got me out of school. I was 14, your age. And basically I worked in his company. We had a trucking company. And by the age of 16, I was the boss of the company. And at 19, I decided to sell the company and put my parents to retirement. And so at 19, I was like, well, nothing much to do now. What am I going to do? You know, and I didn't go to any academic, training or anything. And I always loved photography when I was very young. And so I thought this is something I could do without a degree. And this is how I started. And I was actually 19 and a half. And my half-brother was in Paris, because my company was in west of France in a town. And my half-brother was a doctor, and he knew a photographer that worked actually for him via his organization. And he said, that's my only contact. Why don't you come to Paris and you'll meet this photographer, the professional, that is going to tell you how to go about. And so that was my first contact. I wanted to be a photojournalist. And my idea was to be traveling the world, shooting wars, I had no clue, truly. And also, like I said, I had no academic training, so everything I learned was really out of books, and I was far away from any photographic or artistic background. You can imagine fixing trucks is not exactly like a... And so when he saw me with my brand new camera there, he said, look, you have to assist somebody. This is the best way for you to learn. So I became an assistant. And this is how I really, learned. I became an apprentice more than an assistant to begin with. And then I became an assistant.
From your point of view, what makes a good picture?
I mean, it's hard to say, because there's so many things that are, either attractive or interesting in a picture. But in general, I think it's something that is mysterious, that makes you want to go back to it, And one thing I found absolutely magical about photography is that, this machine will capture something forever. Whatever it is, it will see things that an eye doesn't really see. I think you do see it, but your brain doesn't record it. The camera don't forget anything. And that's fascinating, if you know certain photographers or something, when you look at their pictures, it's mind-blowing to see that, because, it's almost like the pictures is taken before the actual event happened. Because you can't plan a picture like this, per se,
We know that you have some amazing artwork. Would you like to tell us more about your favorite work and why you like it so much?
It goes more by group of pictures, than one picture, because like I was saying before with you, it's when you do fashion, you do magazine work, which is for prestige and for your book, basically, and you do advertising. And most of the time, the advertising work is not so interesting, but this is how you make a living. In my career, funny enough, when I did advertising, I did some really beautiful things in advertising, because I had complete freedom. There were more money than in editorial. So I was able to do really amazing things with fashion. Like there's a jean company, for instance, I did really amazing work with. But as a fashion photographer, it's not just you. It's a team of people working. So yes, it's my name on the pictures and stuff, but it's really a teamwork. And when the teamwork is really at its best, then you really achieve incredible things. But you don't do anything just by yourself in fashion. It's true that I initiate the things, if you like, or everything comes to me because I'm the one that synthesize, when everything comes to me. So obviously, I'm the main point of focus, but it's a combination of everybody else's work.
What kind of cameras do you shoot with normally for your shoots?
Well, today it's all digital, so it doesn't really matter what brand I use. It's a Nikon. That has lost a lot of charm too with digital, because in the past, you see, when you shot film, each camera had a different purpose. There were large format camera, there were 35 millimeter camera, 2 1/4 camera. All that had a very different vibe and feeling. Today, there is not much of this anymore, and everything happens in post-production as before it happened for real when you were actually, you give the film to the lab and you would get the film back, and that was pretty much it.
How long have you been a photographer?
Long. I mean, I started, I was 20, I'm 62. So, I would say something, but I was an assistant for a very long time. I mean, I was assisting for 7 years, which is long. Usually people assist 3-4 years. I guess I was a slow learner or something. No, not really, but I mean, what happened also is that I left France the first time I think in 1981, and I came to America because the photographer I was assisting in Paris was very famous, and my English was non-existent really. So he said, you have to go to the States, and you'll learn English in the States. And so that's how. So I came here for 2 years, and after 2 years I could speak decent English.
Do you have any more career goals?
I don't know. It's complicated today to stay in the game of this, So I guess trying to stay in it and expand the clientele and all of this. It's a bit tricky.
What kind of inspires you to take a photo? Let's say maybe geared more towards your personal projects.
Towards personal projects, it has to be artistic, things I do on my own, not with a team and all of that. And it's not, lately I didn't have any, really thing going on about it, because the energy I have to spend to keep up with the commercial work is very demanding, so I haven't been working on my own for things like that.
How does your self-improvement process go? Yeah, you see something maybe you think you could do a little bit better. How do you kind of learn from your photos to take better ones, whether it be for your personal projects or for professional?
I mean, I don't have really formulas, so every time I shoot something, you kind of restart from scratch every time. Of course, I have experience now that I didn't have when I was younger, but at the same time, if you want to stay open and bring new things, you need to be up on your toes all the time, So whatever happens, like yesterday I shot a 17-year-old girl, honestly, I felt like I was beginning again. It's strange, You have to always be alert, see what's going to happen, what's not going to happen, what you create, what you don't. It's a very strange thing. If you start working like a machine, you lose all emotion,
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
I mean, I don't. I truly have no idea. I thought about this question when I saw it. I'm like, I don't know. Hopefully, I'll still be working as a photographer and making a living out of it. And I mean, I want to go towards moving images, which I've done a little bit of it. I'm not at all impressed by the cameras, the moving camera. What's difficult about it is the editing part. This is something I can't wrap my head around, But I see it as a continuation of still images.
Really, just thinking about everything that you've done as a photographer, what would you say you enjoy shooting the most?
Fashion, for sure. Just because it's incredibly beautiful. I don't know, fashion is a very special place. You know, I don't know if you know this man called Karl Lagerfeld. He was a designer for Chanel for years and years and years. He was a very famous man. He passed not so long ago. And he talked about fashion and he said, you know, it's cruel, ephemeral, and unfair. And if you're not comfortable in that place, you better leave. And whatever he said is absolutely true. You know, there is a harshness in fashion. It's a very special world, you know. It's a loving family, but they have a lot of argument, you know. And when things go wrong, they go terribly wrong. And as a photographer, it's fantastic because you can do so much with what fashion is. It's not like you're photographing just a product, because you're photographing, you know, things on humans.
Do you have any way you make people feel comfortable in front of the camera?
I mean, it's a matter of talking, you know, and understanding, talking, not talking. It's a very, you open up people, you know, like you really, if you work well with them, I become their mirror. You know, they see themselves through me. So they forget the camera, basically. And there you have a conversation.
What is the most difficult part about being a photographer for you?
It's to be constant. It's very difficult to be constant, you know, and to be good every day. Because it truly is very difficult to be a photographer. I mean, in fashion, if you work in fashion, you take all the you know, care to surround yourself possible with best people, with good hair, good makeup, good models, good stylists. But, you know, when you do photography on your own, it's another game, because you're totally by yourself there with a camera. Like I said, it's a very fragile moment. You know, either you get it or you don't get it.
Do you have any tips for new photographer how they could become or be introduced to this industry?
Well, first of all, they have to have a real passion for it. You know, to me, it's not a job. You know, it's not something you go into and say, "Oh, I'm going to become a photographer and become rich and famous." You know, it truly is a passion, and the rest comes with it. You know, it's not about technique for me. It's not about these things. You know, the technique you learn pretty fast, and today it's easier than before with digital. When easier, it's just different. You know, but it really is about passion. I didn't get into photography because I thought it was cool. You know, I had a real passion for it, you know, so I went dived into it, you know. And fashion came later, you know, like it took me a while to actually decide I wanted to become a fashion photographer.
Thank you so much, Michelle, for being here. We appreciate it a lot. Maybe next time you could bring your cameras and shoot something with us. Okay. For everyone at home, thank you for coming and enjoying this interview. For more amazing interviews, follow our next episode.
Thank you for joining us today. We have upcoming interviews, so don't miss our next episode.
Slowly we are going back to normal, but you still have to keep taking care of yourself. Wear your mask where it's mandatory. See you next time. Goodbye.